the Above Average podcast, the only refuge for the slightly above average. I am back. I am back from a long COVID-related hiatus that
Uh,
really sucked. But I'm alive now. I'm alive. It took 3 years to get me, and it finally got me. Boy, did it get me. But I'm alive with only a little bit of lingering
back from the dead.
long COVID symptoms. So I'm back from the dead. You ever have COVID yet?
I have not.
Damn. How'd you manage that?
I don't know.
Do you just not take the subway?
Not when I don't have to, but also, yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
A lot of people who are like super jacked, vaxxed up, still get it, and other people who aren't vaxxed also get it. So
Yeah. I'd be way more worried of fucking dying if I didn't, have all my vaccines. But, because, yeah, it was rough. Like, my body hurt like a motherfucker, but I never at any point thought I was gonna
did you
die.
lose your taste?
So that's nice. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I kept like going to my cupboard and like, eating garlic,
Gross.
just to check. But, uh, but so I got it from going to see fucking Avatar 2. And I gotta tell you, it was not worth getting COVID.
Serves you right.
Yeah, I definitely, no one has deserved COVID more than me because I chose to give James Cameron money, and this is my punishment for it. I got it from seeing Avatar 2. I didn't even stick around for the whole thing.
It's too long for you.
Yeah, it was too long and not a lot happened, and it's like the original movie. Like, it's not actually that interesting, but it's kind of cool looking. It definitely, maybe it may be that I've just lost all my patience from COVID. Like, COVID just wrecked my attention span, but I just can't sit through a 3 hour shitty movie. Like, the original Avatar was not that long. It was not a 3 hour movie. This was like way over 3 hours. This was like, what, 3:15? That's too much. I can't do it anymore, especially if it's boring and shitty. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Yeah, and also this was like Tarzan and the other one was Pocahontas. So it's not fun. I don't know. It's just it didn't work. It was not worth the COVID. It was not worth the money. I really should have stayed home. It would have saved me a lot of grief. Having said that, it is nominated for an Oscar for Best Picture because no fucking movies came out last year. Like, I honestly think James Cameron waited until the COVID dearth of movies. Because, like, the shortage of movies didn't come the year COVID came out. It's coming now, like 2 years later, when all the production
Yeah.
is behind. So, like, there's no backlog of movies. Like, no one was making movies 1 or 2 years ago because of COVID restrictions. So James Cameron, it's the only thing you can watch. Give me money. I'm making 5 more Avatars. Oh, Christ. Oh, and he's gonna make them. The fucking madman. I don't know. The next one, he's just gonna be like, you can smell the blue. You could smell it. I don't think a lot of good movies came out in 2022. There are some very good movies. Like, Everything Everywhere All at Once was a fantastic original script. Well deserved. Needs to win Best Picture. All Quiet on the Western Front. Awesome World War I movie. I have my own criticisms of it, which I'll save. Also nominated for Best Picture. Top Gun. No one likes to make fun of the original Top Gun more than me, but I couldn't help but love it, and that's really saying something. Triangle of Sadness, I think, thinks it's a much smarter movie than it actually is. What's your favorite movie of 2022?
I did like Top Gun Maverick. Yeah, Everything All at Once was good. I don't really remember a lot of the movies last year.
Because there weren't any. Like, seriously, like, it was like that plus Elvis and Banshees of Inisherin. That's about
Oh
it.
yeah, Banshees.
Yeah. And it's like in Bruges, but again, right?
Yeah, same actor, just different characters. But it's funny, dark funny.
Yeah. Someone told me it was really sad, and I just thought, I don't need that in my life right now.
It's sad maybe because your friend has a friend who's dealing with the same situation.
Whereas I'll watch it, it's like, oh, that I'm not affected by this at all.
I mean, it's a great idea. Like, how do you tell your friend that you don't want to be friends with them anymore?
I feel like you just don't. You just stop talking. Isn't that how people run these days? Like, don't people just ghost their friends
If you live in a
nowadays?
small town, you have to see them. It's just like really awkward, but
Yeah, fair enough.
funny.
Yeah, I'm a fancy urbanite who's bad at texting. I think I can just very much envision not seeing people. I don't know. It's all like I figured like it's slightly difficult maintaining
Friendship?
friendships outside of
Yep.
work, in your 20s and 30s. Like, when you have your own family and, you spend most of your time at your bullshit ass job. I just figured like it's not that hard. Like the challenge is not having the challenge is having friends. The challenge is not like how do I stop being friends with these people? It's just
Maintenance.
yeah. It's just yeah, you just stop doing the maintenance and then you don't have friends anymore. I At least I think that's how it works. I try and put in the time, but man, I got to tell you, I don't really text anymore
Really?
cuz now I need glasses. Yeah, I need glasses to look at my phone, and I hate it, so I just don't look at my phone. It's fucking bad. Like I just yeah, I don't read my texts anymore. So
So don't get offended if you text him and he doesn't text back.
yeah, it's been a bit of a problem. I think I'm dealing with something like I'm afraid of getting old and shit, and like it's not like the thing that pisses me off the most about glasses is like I like wearing big stupid headphones,
Yep.
and I can't wear big stupid headphones if I have glasses. Yeah, it's like it's pretty upsetting there. Also, I got my wife LASIK, and my wife's vision was really, really bad. And, so we got her LASIK, and so now she sees better than me. And so everything's flipped around. It's just like,
So is she gonna get you LASIK now?
see, that's the thing. I'm in this horrible limbo where like my vision isn't that bad, but it is
Yeah.
like a pain in the ass. Like I have to focus my eyes to read things. Like my vision's not bad enough for LASIK yet, and also your vision has to stabilize before you get LASIK. Like you have to have the same like badness of
Uh,
vision for a couple of years. Because like you don't want your vision to like decay after you get the procedure. I think yeah, they want your vision to stabilize, then you get LASIK, and then you have like good vision for like at least 10. At least, that's the hope. So like I'm in this horrible limbo where I have to like wait with my bad vision to get fucking LASIK and I can't pay my way out of it. Sucks.
so your bad vision is making you think you're old and not flying back to test.
Yes, my bad vision is legitimately making me antisocial. It's making me not use anything on my phone, like respond to emails or
Text
use
messages.
Reddit or social media. It's just like I can use Instagram, which I think is making me dumber because it's just pictures. It's like ooh, pretty picture, Instagram. Ugh. I'm a little bitter
I can
about
tell.
this. I'm not gonna lie. Like maybe a little too bitter, but like yeah, this is I'm not pleased about this aspect of getting old. And I know like anyone who's had glasses for any length of time has no sympathy for me, and rightly so. It sucks when there's a change. We get used to the life we have, and then when it's taken away, that's what's hard. It's not like wearing glasses isn't as hard if you're used to it. Suddenly your ability to see shit is taken away. Yeah, I don't know. That psychologically that's a tough, but
Let's start a GoFundMe for Lake LASIK.
I don't know. The LASIK I can't have.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, no, if anyone wants to send me money for LASIK in 5 to 10 years, sure. Yeah, go right ahead. So anyway, let's speaking of things which distract me from the drudgery of getting old in my life, let's just go back to talking about the Oscars. So I'm gonna like run through it and complain about everything a little bit, but Everything Everywhere All at Once deserves Best Picture because good original screenplays are hard to come by, and they don't make them enough anymore, like mid-budget, funny, original screenplay movies, and we need to reward. So yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once should be richly rewarded financially and with awards. That should be a lock-in. Steven Spielberg is really trying to win an Oscar right now
Boo.
with his movie The Fablemans. I'm always annoyed by movies that are about making movies because it's really circle jerky of Hollywood. And Steven Spielberg, I don't give a shit that like what inspired you to make movies.
Same.
I don't care. No, bad stuff.
Oh, bitch, bitch, bitch.
This he's only doing like if he had won the Oscar for West Side Story, also undeserved, he wouldn't be making this movie. He just would. All Quiet on the Western Front, shoo-in for best foreign language film. It always kind of ruins it when like a best foreign language film is also in best picture category, because then you know it's just gonna fucking win. But that's probably a shoo-in. So I actually went to the premiere, or a premiere, not that important, a premiere of All Quiet on the Western Front, and I saw it in theaters on the big screen, and it was pretty spectacular. But my gripe with the film that it tried to make itself too big by being, because the book All Quiet on the Western Front is supposed to be about, your average soldier, the horror they go through, and the fact that the state doesn't care. And the title is a reference to, because when the main character dies, he dies off screen. You don't see his death, and you don't really know how he dies. You can assume. The dispatch made the day he dies is All Quiet on the Western Front, meaning his death was a non-event. The state does not care that he died at all, and it's how war in the state dehumanizes us. But they cut that part out of the movie, and they made a whole bit about Friedrich Ebert, I think his name is. I need to Google his name.
Google him.
I think it's Friedrich Ebert. Oh, Erzberger.
Should have used Bing.
Yeah, okay, so, sorry. Daniel Bruhl is in the movie as, the German diplomat and Minister of Finance, Matthias Erzberger, who is, negotiating the armistice with the French government. And he is not a character in the book, and neither is, the French High Command, and neither is Paul von Hindenburg or whoever the German general is. I think it was supposed to be. Anyway, doesn't matter who he was supposed to be, but there's a whole bunch of German generals and French generals and German politicians, and it's not supposed to be about them.
All right.
I think that was a mistake. And also, I don't care who these people are. It did a really good job of showing, the dehumanizing nature of industrial warfare in the opening scene. And because in the opening scene, a soldier named Heinrich is shot, and you follow him being stripped of his clothes and dumped in a pit full of lime, and his bloodied and ripped clothes being shipped back to Germany on a truck, washed by laundresses, sewed back up, and given to our main character as his new uniform. And, it's awesome. There's hardly any words said through it. The women in the textile mill that are fixing the uniforms, their sewing machines sound like machine guns. It's a wonderful sequence, which, really, even though that's not in the book, it really captures the spirit of the book. Whereas the shit with Ferdinand Foch and Erzberger doesn't follow the spirit of the book. So, a fine film. There's very few World War I movies that capture the horror of it all so well, but yeah, it was I did not agree with that decision. And oh my god, I got so irrationally mad that someone in the LA Times was like, "How did this obscure German epic, kind of come into the Oscars?" Literally the most popular book on the First World War, and Hollywood has made 2 remakes before, and the movie has been in everyone's Netflix recommend. So I don't get
Take that, Oscars.
Yeah, that's my complaint about All Quiet on the Western Front. Fuck you, Oscar. So Michelle Yeoh has been nominated for Best Actor, in Everything Everywhere All at Once. I hope she wins. But there was an article saying she's the first Asian person to be nominated for Best Actress. And I was like, surely that's not true. And it isn't. The first, Yul Brynner is?
Sounds familiar.
You ever watch The 10 Commandments?
Yeah.
Or like any movie from the 60s with an Asian villain.
That's him.
Yeah, that's him. So like, but he's like a native Siberian. He's a Buryat. They're kind of like Mongols, but they live in Russia.
Depends.
But yeah, he was the king of Siam in the King of Andai, and he was King Ramses in the Ten Commandments. So he's the first actor to be nominated, or the first Asian to be nominated and win an Academy Award for Best Actor.
Nice.
And and he had to flee America and renounce his citizenship and become a Swiss citizen for tax reasons. And that's how that's how he ended up. Yeah, but so for Best Actress, it's a little bit murky. Part of it depends on if you consider Armenians to be Asian. Yes, technically they are, but I feel like people generally don't consider Armenians to be Asian. Is that right? No one thinks of Kim Kardashian as Asian, right? At least I don't.
Nope, they do not.
Apparently Cher is Armenian. So if you count Armenians as being Asian, then Cher for some reason has an Oscar for fucking Moonstruck, and yeah, there's that. But anyway, there's a more interesting side to this. So there's actually two women from like Golden Age Hollywood in the 30s, Meryl Oberon and Vivien Leigh. Both of them, by astounding coincidence, a quarter Indian, and were born in British India, but like kind of covered it up and made out like they were white for the sake of their careers. So I think you could legitimately argue that if they pretended to be white, it doesn't count. They were born in India, so there's that. But I find it so funny that like the first like Asian woman to win an Oscar for Best Actress was Vivien Leigh, who played the woman in Gone with the Wind, like the fucking movie about, oh, slavery is fine, and those damned Yankees were just trying to burn all our shit down. But she wasn't even like, she was pretending to be fully white for that movie. That was a funny one. Like Hollywood wouldn't even let the actress who played her maid to be in the hotel where they were hosting the Oscars at the time, because it was a segregated hotel. So I don't know.
Yeah.
As an Asian person, Tanim, do you feel represented by Vivien Leigh?
Who? No, I do not.
Yeah, you're revoking her Indian card.
Yeah, send her back.
Christ. It's so ridiculous, but I feel like people don't know like how the extent to which like a lot of people like pretended to be white and still do, because it's normal to do that, like to advance your career, to like whiteify yourself,
Whitewash. Yeah.
but yeah, everyone remembers Rachel Dolezal and like the crazy people who, and Sean King, who like do the reverse and pretend to be black. But no one shits on, sorry, not shit on's not the right word, but no one because like it's not, because with Rachel Dolezal, she's like, and Sean King, they're trying to be con artists and dupe people, but when Oscar Isaac pretends not to be Guatemalan, he's doing that for legitimate reasons, because it could hurt his career if people knew he was Spanish.
Yeah.
So, which is ridiculous when you say it out loud, but it's true. And like lots of Jewish people change their name to something that sounds like white in English. Like Jonah Hill's real name is like Feldman or Feldstein. Jonah Hill, what is your name? Feldstein. Yes, there you go. Yeah, his name is Feldstein. And Mel Brooks' name is Melvin Kaminsky. So it like, I feel like it could, where I'm going with this, like I feel like giving disproportionate attention to the Rachel Dolezals of the world can kind of like undercut the fact that like there's lots of people who pretend to be white, because it could give people the wrong idea that like, oh, people pretend to be black because it's more advantageous to be black. But that's not the case at all. Like people, generally speaking, or at least actors anyway, try to be more English and more white.
And that's why he's in a movie called You People.
And that's fucked up. Jonah Hill should allow be allowed to be Feldstein. Yes, exactly. Oh, Angelina Jolie is on the list of Asian American or Asian Oscar nominees because she has Cambodian citizenship for some reason.
I think she did that because they were a kid.
I guess, but like,
Gotta catch them all.
look, I'm willing to grant that, like, I'm willing to grant Vivian Leigh counts because she was born in India, but like, Angelina Jolie does not fucking count. That does not count. That is ridiculous.
You're revoking her citizenship.
I mean, she still has American citizenship, and she was born in the U.S. Like, yeah, she was born in. Yeah, she's John Voight's kid. Like, she's
Daughter.
definitely not Cambodian. Or okay, well, she is, but like, yes, Angelina Jolie is Cambodian, but like, come on, Angelina Jolie is not Asian. She does not get to be on the list. That's too ridiculous. I mean, part of the problem is like Asian is too broad of a category because like 2/3 of everyone is Asian, and it encompasses like everyone from like the Lebanese to the Chinese to Siberians and Armenians. So and Indians and Bangladeshis and Thais and Indonesians. It's a huge cross section of people. So it's it's in some ways not a very useful categorization because like no one in Asia feels like a common Asian, at least from all the discourse I've read of the ownership of Pacific Islands. That seems to be the case. No, fuck you. Those are my rocks.
Coming from the non-Asian.
Yes, exactly. I'm being an outside observer, but there's not a lot of, at least on the internet, there's not a lot of like unity in the struggle, shall we say? But it's a contentious. It's a contentious subject. We'll just say Meryl Oberon is the first Asian American, or not Asian American. She was an American. The first Asian Oscar nominee for Best Actress. I should clarify. Yeah. We'll give it to her. We'll give it to her. Sorry, Michelle Yeoh.
You got duped again.
But definitely well deserved. Even if you're not the first Asian to be nominated, you still deserve it, Michelle Yeoh. Just like Brendan Fraser deserves the Oscar, just to get him out of the Hollywood blacklist, like just to signal it's over.
They put on that fat suit on.
Yeah, it's very weird for someone in a fat suit to be in an Oscar nominated movie, isn't it? Because when people usually put on fat suits, it's for bad movies. Usually you're like Tyler Perry doing something awful, doing something that'll make Spike Lee mad. You'll get into a Twitter argument, but when Brendan Fraser does it, he gets an Oscar nomination.
Good for him.
Yeah, I think that's pretty well deserved. I haven't even seen the movie because I don't want to, because I don't like Darren Aronofsky, man. I don't. My feelings say we should give Brendan Fraser the Oscar. I feel he deserves the Oscar. Just for his time out in the cold. I want to take a tangent and talk about Alec Baldwin for the conspicuous absence from the Bang Bang indeed. You think he did it?
That's what the kids are saying on the streets because they care about Alec Baldwin and know who he is.
Yes, yeah, the kids fucking love Alec Baldwin with his Hunt for the Red October and
30 Rock.
Glenn Ross. Zoomers love Glenn Ross, and Tom Clancy books made into movies. That's what they're all about. So for those who don't know, Alec Baldwin got charged with manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter, I suppose, in the shooting of someone on his film set for Rust, and claims that no one, when people gave him the gun, they told him it wasn't loaded, and he pulled the trigger and it shot his cinematographer and assistant director.
I think it was just one. I don't think he shot twice and missed.
No. So he only shot once, but like the bullet went through. Sorry, I really should have their names here. So he didn't actually shoot twice. So he fired the gun and it hit and killed Helena Hutchins, and the bullet went through her and wounded director Joel Souza. So it was just the one shot and only one person died, but
collateral damage.
Yeah, it was collateral damage. You think he's going to jail?
Guilty. Send him.
Send him. So there's basically there's a large contingent of people say that Alec Baldwin deserves to go to prison and he's guilty of negligent manslaughter, because you're always supposed to treat a gun as though it's loaded, and you're never supposed to aim a gun at people and anyway.
Sounds like a Disney joke.
I'm making fun of them, but it's a very repetitive sentiment, and a lot of it is because Alec Baldwin's a liberal, and he's anti-gun, and so people are kind of like wringing their hands that he accidentally shot someone, and he's actually the one who's a danger to the public. So as it turns out, while I agree that you should treat a gun as though it's always loaded. Like that's good sense. But even if it's good sense, it's not the law. Alec Baldwin is not going to jail for manslaughter. I'm calling it right now, because for negligent manslaughter, you basically have to be doing something that's so negligent that you have to know that it was dangerous. And something like that would be like if you were waving a loaded gun around. Like that would be an example of negligent manslaughter. For some reason, there's a lot of different crimes for killing people. First and second degree murder are you killed someone and you meant to do it. And the difference between those two is like, whether or not you did it during a crime or you did it like, in the heat of passion or something like that. And then like voluntary manslaughter is like, maybe you got into a fight with someone and maybe didn't initially intend to kill them, but you did end up killing them, and that's a lesser charge than murder. But then, involuntary manslaughter usually means you have to be doing something that's like so criminally negligent, like, you're driving super fast, like 150 kilometers an hour, and you kill someone, or like maybe you like as a joke you like pretend to push your buddy over the cliff and you actually push them over the cliff. That's involuntary manslaughter. Even though it would have been good sense and good safety procedure for Alec Baldwin to check the gun, as far as I can tell, Alec Baldwin was under no legal obligation to actually check the gun. And because on sets, actors aren't responsible for the guns in the sense that they don't know that they're not supposed to be the experts on gun safety. Obviously there's supposed to be training involved and that sort of thing, but they're not supposed to be the ones who check the gun to make sure it isn't loaded, because that's actually something that's a little tricky to do, because you'll have dummy rounds in the revolver, and someone who's not an expert on firearms, the difference is quite subtle. Like there's little markings that tell you this is a dummy round as opposed to a live. And that's not Alec Baldwin's job to know. Like he is well within his right to trust that the armorer has done his job. And in that sense, I don't think he could possibly be found criminally negligent. You could totally argue that he should have checked the gun himself. Like that's legitimate. But I don't think he can be held criminally liable, because like just as he's not an expert on guns, like if you're working with wires, like if you're doing a wire scene, you're not the expert. It's not on you to check your wires to see if they're safe.
Get your wires crossed.
Exactly. Get your wires crossed. Or like, he's not going to check his own parachute. Like he's abdicated that responsibility to an expert, which is safer theoretically. Yeah, not in this case. And there's no precedent for it. Brandon Lee was the last person to my knowledge who was like killed in a very similar way, in that, it was a revolver went off, shot into him, and he died. But the man who fired the gun at him was not charged with anything, nor should he be, because it was not on him to, check the barrel of the gun for obstructions that would be propelled by the blank round. That's not his. He doesn't know that the gun is safe. So I think the New Mexico is trying to lay on the charges thick to kind of scare him, but I don't think they have any realistic hope of getting a conviction on manslaughter. Though certainly Hutchins' family could sue the shit out of him, because he hired the armorer. You ever shoot guns on your movie sets, Tanim?
Fake ones that say bang when you shoot them.
Oh, you actually have?
Like the clown ones, yeah.
Oh, okay. So, like the ones that the little scroll comes out and...
yeah, that says bang.
You've shot one of those on set?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But nothing with blanks, right?
No.
Oh, okay. I kind of want one of those ridiculous Looney Tunes guns.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah.
They look real.
Yeah, exactly. And like Alec Baldwin can't be expected to know what it looks like. At least not legally. Brandon, you ever hear the Brandon Lee story?
Yeah.
Of like how he was killed on the set of The Crow. Yeah. So like what happened there, like, because Alec Baldwin's thing was fucking stupid. Like someone was playing around with live rounds in the gun and just didn't take them out, and that's why he accidentally shot Helena Hutchinson. Brandon Lee, apparently someone was firing live rounds in the gun, or it was firing fuck it, I'm just gonna okay, so here's what happened with Brandon Lee. It's much crazier. So they were using, there's a difference between blanks and dummy rounds. So a blank is like it's like the cartridge with no bullet, but it has gunpowder.
Yeah.
So like when you shoot it, like there's an explosion and it looks like you're firing the gun, but nothing comes out. So there's sound and there's flash, but nothing happens. And then there's dummy rounds. Dummy rounds are like, they look like proper rounds. Like they have bullets in them, like, and so they're supposed to look real when you load the gun, or when you like look down the side, like when you look into the chambers of the revolver, you don't just see blanks, you see bullets. And so what happened there is the dummy rounds in the gun on the set of The Crow improperly made, and crew didn't remove the primer from the cartridges, which is, you know, what sets off the powder. And so apparently it like had enough energy to like move the bullet of the dummy round into the barrel of the gun, but not enough energy to like have it go through. And so what happened is that when they were filming the scene, they were like they do the thing where when you're loading the gun in the movie, you use dummy rounds, but for the actual shooting they use blanks. And so when they loaded it up with blanks, the gunpowder propelled the bullet from the dummy round out of the gun barrel, basically like a real gun works, and it killed Brandon Lee. So it was a very unfortunate series of mistakes that led to this happening. But it a lot less stupid than what happened with Alec Baldwin, where someone just forgot there were fucking live rounds in the gun. But yeah, I'm surprised it doesn't. I'm surprised it happens so little. But yeah, Brandon Lee
Is Alec Baldwin.
Is Alec Baldwin. That is the conspiracy. Anyway, so like I think they could probably charge the armor some kind of negligence, but I don't know about I don't know about Alec Baldwin. Like he could be sued as a producer, but I don't think it's gonna. But you know, the shame of it all is we're never gonna see that fucking movie.
Oh well.
I've always wanted to see Alec Baldwin in a western. Not really. Yeah, it was unfortunate, but much as Alec Baldwin's a blowhard and kind of an ass, like I don't. If someone hands you a gun and says it's not loaded, and they're the gun expert, I think most people would believe them. But yeah, it's an unfortunate situation.
Indeed. What else we got?
This is not really. This doesn't really have anything to do with anything. But remember when before Shia LaBeouf,
Falcon?
went away? Before Shia LaBeouf went to a nice farm upstate, there were a lot of movies of Shia LaBeouf fucking. I've seen too many of them at this point.
You're a fan of it, aren't you?
But I want to talk about Lars von Trier. Did you ever see Nymphomaniac?
Yes, I did.
And so you saw Shia LaBeouf fucking.
Unfortunately.
Fortunately for all. I realized I have like a profound hatred of that movie. Mostly because I don't like Lars von Trier.
You don't like a lot of people.
No, I know. You're right. I like a lot of people. I just don't talk about them on the show. Maybe I should. I love you, Willem Dafoe. So, Lars von Trier, the creator of the movie, he's trying to be very edgy and claim to do what other people have tried to do, which is to remove the stigma around sex in movies, and be like, no, it's not pornography, it's art, and sex is a part of life, therefore I should have sex in the movie and it's fine. So the reason it's a piece of shit is because they used body doubles. And what that means is that he's still differentiating between people who have sex on camera and people who don't. And it's kind of funny how fine the line is. Like, most actors are like, "Oh yeah, I'll be naked on film and I'll like simulate sex on screen, but I won't actually have penetrative sex on screen." It's the distinction seems a little arbitrary to me, but because I don't know, I understand not wanting to do either, but I don't understand like being cool with like doing everything except penetrative sex on screen. Like but people actually have sex in the movie Nymphomaniac, and that was like how it got its marketing buzz. Like, oh, people are actually which again, that's also a weird thing to happen these days, given pornography has existed for a long time. The actors in the movie don't have sex. They have fucking body doubles who have the sex for them, and then they just cut to their faces in like a different shot.
Yeah.
And so that creates this distinction between like, oh no, real actors don't have sex on screen, but you, the porn star body doubles, you have sex on screen because you're tainted or lesser than the actors who can't actually do that on screen. Which like it's pretending to be like breaking this taboo, but it isn't. Like it's still very much like viewing people who have actual sex on film as lesser and beneath, and the act being beneath actors. So it's fucking bullshit.
The OG deepfake.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. They fucking deep faked us. Which, like, all this is to say, it would not be a good movie otherwise. I guess it would have some kind of integrity or something, but it doesn't even have that. It has no artistic integrity. And I really just think, like, Lars von Trier is just a pervert who likes to see women having a bad time. Like that's
his thing.
That's what he likes to do. He likes to see women suffer. It's like his favorite thing. It's very it's a little disturbing. But like he also just is like let me just make like the most depressing movie possible, and that's art. I don't know. It's just,
you should write him a letter.
yeah, I guess so. Partially because he makes the Danes look bad, and
You wish you were in that movie?
no, not at all. It's no one's having a good time in that movie. Not fun. It just like it triggered a pet peeve of mine. People like to use sex or taboo things in movies to pretend like they're edgy, but they're not actually edgy at all. They're just being uncreatively salacious.
Got it.
Kind of like so the opposite. To contrast that, Pinocchio was like a weird and edgy film by Guillermo del Toro. That was a very, he basically like was like, Pinocchio is like a Lovecraftian tortured soul who's cursed with the inability to die. That was edgy. I appreciated that. And also the fact that he just had fucking Kate Blanchett be the monkey. And like a monkey who doesn't really talk. Like just a monkey who goes like and like gets beaten by Christoph Waltz. That's just
spot on.
Yeah,
monkey.
exactly. But Kate Blanchett was great, but like it's just very funny that she took the role. Yeah, I have no segue into the over COVID, all I did was read about basketball and watch basketball shows.
Yeah.
And I finally got around to watching the last ones. And exactly. Michael Jordan's or I guess not Michael Jordan's documentary. I don't
Chicago
it's
Bulls.
It's mostly about him, though. Like, it's about the other guys, but it's mostly about Michael Jordan. It revealed two things to me. One, HDTV has gone too far.
Why?
Because, okay, so go back and watch it and look at everyone's eyes. Like, everyone's fucked up eyes. And, like, Isaiah Thomas has like this blue ring around his eye, and Michael Jordan has cheese eyes.
Cheese eyes?
Like he's got he's got the cheese eyes.
Oh, cheese
Which
eyes. All right.
he's got the cheese eyes, which makes it so everyone was like, "Oh my god, Michael Jordan has hepatitis or Michael Jordan has jaundice or something because he's got the cheese eyes." And then, but like, yeah, Isaiah Thomas and B.J. Armstrong, they all have like this blue ring around their eyes. I had to Google all this shit, like what was wrong with their fucking eyes. Like I thought, like, oh, do rich people have like those implanted contact lenses that like gives them the blue ring around their eyes?
Poor people don't.
Like, do you have a blue ring around your eyes, Tanim?
Not that I know of. I also can't see my eyes.
That's a fucking lie. Of course you can see your eyes. Anyway, so it turns out like people with dark eyes, like you don't notice it in people with blue eyes, but people with dark eyes can grow like a blue ring around their eyes when they get old. But I never noticed it before because TV was not HD enough for me to notice that. Before the blue ring around their eyes would just blend with the whites of their eyes, but like now it's a thing I can see on TV. So yeah, HD TV has like, oh, and Michael Jordan's like cheese eyes is just like melanin in his sclera. It's like a thing that happens to people, or that happens to some people as they get older. Like it's not a health issue.
Because he ate too many
Yeah,
Cheetos.
the cheese eyes from Cheetos. But yeah, no. So like, but it's making me think like all these people have fucking health issues because like I could see too much detail on their faces. So yeah, HD TV has gone too far.
You like our cheese eyes.
Yeah, do we though? Like, do we need it to go that far?
Maybe you should be looking at the game instead of cheese eyes.
No, I'm looking at the cheese eyes. That's all I can focus on. But okay, but we could talk about the stupid goddamn game. But so what's your take on 3-pointers ruining basketball? Because Shaq and Charles Barkley seem to think they ruined basketball.
It hasn't ruined it, just a different game now, which is better, more exciting, but it's just different. Just gotta get used to it. Out with the old and with the new.
Wait, why is it more exciting?
Well, it brings a different dynamic. It opens up games so that you actually have to play defense.
But Tanim, there's no slam dunks.
There is in the skills comp.
No slam dunks, Tanim. I want my slam dunks.
Play NBA Jam.
Oh, but also like no one can play defense anymore because you just get fucking refed out and you can't like Isaiah Thomas's Bad Boys, like where they just like fucking beat the shit out of you. Like you can't do that anymore.
Nope.
I feel like we could bring that back though. Like we could have a moderately full contact basketball, can't we?
No, the players get paid too much in their system.
Come on, it's fine. Michael Jordan was fine.
That was a different time.
Yeah, but people weren't, contrary to popular belief, people were not tougher back then.
They just let it slide more.
Exactly, they just let it slide more. See, I don't know how we change the culture to like let it slide more. Like maybe we have like a formal rules change, but yeah. Anyway, so I'm blaming the rise of 3-pointers squarely on Michael Jordan's teammate Steve Kerr, who in the 90s was the greatest 3-point shooter of all time, and in terms of percentage of shots made, and went on to coach Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors, the fucking 3-pointer kings. Michael Jordan was right to punch Steve Kerr because he would go on to ruin basketball. My favorite thing about Michael Jordan is like, so he's kind of a dick.
Yes.
He's so competitive.
He will take your money.
Yes, he will take your money. And
bully you for it.
Yes. I love how his main vice is his gambling problem. But like because he's so rich, it's barely even a gambling problem. It's like I don't have a gambling problem because I have too much money.
Yes.
Yes. But like I love how like the compulsive gambling doesn't come from like, I don't actually know where compulsive gambling comes from, but it's not from like, the monkey brained desire to win money that we all have. Like he's just like way too competitive, like by his nature. Like his gambling is mostly just like him getting his fix on competition, like outside of basketball. So it was very strange to see that side of him. He sounds like he's probably
psychotic.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just like every time he's just like, And that I took personally. And then fucking destroys them because, like, the coach wouldn't go play golf with him or some shit. And then he just makes shit up. Like, but like, if he did go play golf with him and he won, then he, like, used that as an excuse to destroy him. If Michael Jordan went to therapy, he'd average, like, 3 points a game. But it does make you think, like, is it worth it? Maybe, but I don't know. I think there's a case to be made that, like, it can be too self-destructive, and, like, it can fuck with the team's dynamic if everyone's on each other's nerves all the time.
Yep.
But I mean, like, he would argue that, like, oh, I won all these championships. But on the other hand, he's working with some pretty, incredible athletes. Like, I don't know that there's any reason to suspect that, like, they'd be worse if Michael Jordan wasn't kicking their asses all day. I don't know. Could happen. But then, like, the funny part is, like, Michael Jordan, like, wants to, like, bully everyone into being a better basketball player. But then he also doesn't want Isaiah Thomas on his team. He's like, no. And him and all the other guys are like, no, we can't have Isaiah Thomas on our team because, like, we hate him and there's going to be a fucked up dynamic, and that's why we can't play. That's why we can't play in the Olympics with Isaiah Thomas, even though, like, Isaiah Thomas beat Michael Jordan more than anyone else.
MJ calls the shots.
Yes. Apparently. Though, like, given how many bridges Isaiah Thomas burned with, like, and all the rivalries he had with all the other guys, I can very much believe that, like, Magic Johnson was just like, no, don't get him the fuck out of here. I'm going to be point guard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also made me realize, like, a lot of the guys in the 90s Chicago Bulls kind of came out of nowhere. Like, they weren't part of basketball dynasties. Like, it wasn't like you have a couple, like John Paxson's dad was in the NBA, and Steve Kerr, it just comes from, like, a rich as fuck family. Like, Michael Jordan, he's middle class, but he kind of comes out of nowhere. Like, doesn't come from, like, a family with connections in major league sports. And Dennis Rodman gets kicked out of the house at 18 from his dad, who has 47 kids and lives in the Philippines. And Scottie Pippen comes from a poor ass family of like 12 or 14 in Hamburg, Arkansas, to make his way to basketball greatness. But nowadays, if you look at all the number one players in the NBA right now, like, good chunk of the American ones anyway, like, come from sports families or sports dynasties. Like, they have some kind of connection. Like, Steph Curry's obviously, like, the worst one because he's been, like, trained by NBA players since he was fucking 9. So, like, obviously he has an advantage there. No one else is going to be in. No one else. Like, it's going to be very hard for someone, like, of his height to, like, make their way in. Like, obviously people who are, like, 7 feet tall are going to make their way into the NBA anyway. Which I think it's like full, like, 20% of people over 7 feet tall play or have played in the NBA. Like, something ridiculous. But I don't know. Like, do you think there's been, like, a rise of sports being more dynastic instead of merit-based? Like, it's more about, like, do you come from a sports family than are you actually good?
Still think you have to be good.
Yeah, which, like,
I guess just because
like,
they have family within the sports,
okay, yeah, like,
they have more access. But
obviously,
still think you should be talented.
like, you can't make it into the league unless you're talented. But, like, you still have to work hard. But I just mean, like, there are people who probably could have been in the NBA, but, like, because they didn't have dads in the NBA, or like Reggie Miller's sisters are, like, extreme college ball players and know all the coaches and know all the talent scouts. They never got in. Like they're talented, but they never make it into, like, the inner circle that allows them to play for the NBA.
No, still think it's
all right. Fine. But, like,
that's your hot take.
Again, I'm not at all suggesting that, like, they're not talented or they're not hardworking. It's just, like, I'm convinced that, like I don't know what the percentage is, but, like, obviously everyone needs the skills to get in, but a huge chunk of whether or not you make it as an NBA player is luck. Take, for example, MJ and the 84 draft. So how, like, MJ was the 3rd overall draft pick, right? He was behind Hakeem Olajuwon and Sam Bowie. And Hakeem Olajuwon like did pretty well for himself. Definitely not like legendary to the same degree as Michael, but like he has 2 championships, and I think it's generally believed that his team, the Houston Rockets, was like pretty shit compared to compared to the '90s Chicago Bulls that had like Dennis Rodman and Scottie Pippen, and all the people who helped
Tony Kukoc,
Kukoc.
Luke Longley.
Oh my god. The fucking Oh man, I took poor fucking Tony Kukoc is always just like, man, I didn't know what was going on, but everyone was really pissed off at me for some reason. Like he's just the poor bastard. He didn't know what was happening.
He got in the middle of everything.
Exactly. But so yeah, Hakeem Olajuwon didn't have as good of a team. But then Sam Bowie is widely considered to be like a huge bust. Like his career isn't like disastrous. Like he's definitely not the worst NBA player, but like his career wasn't as productive as it should have been because he had a lot of very serious injuries in his early years of playing that really impacted his career. Like I think he broke his femur and his tibia. Like he had like 3 leg breaks that meant he was never quite the same. But kudos to him. He still like pulled himself up by his bootstraps and put the work in to recover and like still have like a decently respectable NBA career. But never rose to the level of, like Patrick Ewing or like Charles Barkley or all those guys. But still a respectable average 10 points a game kind of thing. Like he's a pretty good basketball player, but he just had the bad luck of having a really fucking bad injury, and that could just happen to anyone. Like it's not, and especially basketball players, because they're so fucking tall. Their knees are just fucked, and you see it like everyone in the NBA, some people retire early, but most people injure out. Like Isaiah Thomas fucked his Achilles tendon. Sam Bowie broke his legs a bunch of times. Larry Bird broke his back. Like everyone eventually gets an injury that forces them out of the game. It's just that Sam Bowie had his not career-ending injury, but career-limiting injury very early in his playing career, and so never got to the level of the other ones. And that's not his fault. It's not like he could have worked harder or had a better athletic body. It's just
should have taken out.
Exactly. Yeah. I wonder if some tasteless milk executive was just like, yeah, we got to use this. But you see what I'm getting at. He was a very promising prospect, and his career was very much hobbled by accidents and injuries, and that could happen to anyone. That could have happened to MJ, when he fucked his foot in his first few seasons.
He rose like Phoenix.
Luck is so important to this. It's like luck is almost, I would say, the most important thing, because you can be good. A lot of people are good, but you also have to be lucky to not have your legs fucking clown you at the last second and ruin your career. And I think Sam Bowie is I always find sports movies where the guy loses to be the most meaningful and the most inspiring, because you have to be able to live with yourself even if you lost. And Michael's story isn't quite that. It's a little more if I burn all these bridges but also learn to play as a team member, then I can cement myself as a dynastic great basketball player. Sam Bowie's story is about you have it all and then you lose it, but you work your ass off and you're not as you were, but you're still good, making the best of a bad situation where other people might have given up. And I find that a lot more inspiring. Good on you, Sam Bowie. Good on you. The whole thing made me realize it's very hard to evaluate who the greatest basketball player is. Because with the rise of the threes, the sport changes quite a bit over time. There's substantially more 3-point shots now, but the funny part is players aren't actually better at 3-pointers now. The percentage of 3-point shots people make is not actually that much higher than it was in the 90s. but like people are making them way more. Like I guess because like if you miss a bunch of threes but you sink some, like it pays off more than missing sinking some and missing some twos.
All right.
Okay, let me phrase that better. I realize you're making fun of, but so like if you're shooting like if you hit like 50% of 2-pointers and then you hit less of those in 3-pointers, like, or if you hit 50 or if you hit like 40% of 3-pointers, even though you're hitting less of them, you get more points. So like long twos are basically never worth it, like except in like very specific circumstances. Like in that case, you might as well go for the 3. I'm doing fucking desk sports.
Blake's an accountant, by the way.
Where I'm just like evaluating everything on a statistical level. Like Shaq's, like I'm not alone on this, in the sense that like, you know, Shaq's complaint about it is not that everyone's trying for threes, but that no one is exploiting the offensive potential
Of the big man.
Yeah, exactly. Of the big, i.e., him. Because, like, the prevalence of threes creates a new threat. So, like, people, like it forces you to create, like, a defensive perimeter around the 3-point line. You know, it creates a lot of space under the net where, you know, Shaq likes to imagine that, you know, he would just charge in and clean up and just destroy everyone with his, go full Diesel on us.
Vin Diesel.
Exactly.
Get that straight.
But yeah, and you know, with sports, going back to like sports being limited, it was always very difficult to get into the NBA and other leagues as well, unless you went through American colleges. You know, that's always been kind of a barrier that exists. Like if you can't get into colleges, you, for the most part, can't get into the NBA. Like there's exceptions for like, you know, Euroball players and that sort of thing. That's like college has always been like, you know, the class barrier to professional sports, which, you know, you overcome with being 7 feet tall and just happen to get noticed by a talent scout in high school. But yeah, it doesn't happen to everyone. At least I wouldn't think. I just feel like there's too many kids of former NBA players in the NBA. That's it. Yeah, too many of them. I want more like dudes like Allen Iverson who were like, yeah, just randos, like, or people who were like Dennis Rodman who were like, oh, I was headed for, you know, a life of crime and recklessness when I went into the NBA where I could be a basketball player and lead a life of crime and recklessness.
Yeah,
one of those things. I'm just mad at Steph Curry. How dare you be the same height as me and be good at basketball just because your dad was in the NBA? Fuck you, Steph Curry. I think COVID's made me more bitter. But I think that's just because I was locked inside.
Yeah, check us out everywhere, all at once.
Hey!
If you can. YouTube.
Reference.
Instagram, Facebook, we're everywhere. Google us. We will be there on your screen.
All at once.
All the time.
All right.